and they had a profit margin of $286,000, which represents a 22% margin. Here's an exact breakdown of a real estate wholesaler doing $1.3 million in revenue in 2025 that engaged with SM3 marketing to not only run their ads, but also in our paid consulting program. I'm gonna break down the exact metrics inside of this business when we met them. They started early Jan with us, so it's almost a perfect year-to-year comparison. We're gonna take the first half of 2026 and compare it to 2025. So here's the exact breakdown of this wholesaler in 2025. Their primary marketing channel was 50% Facebook ads and 50% mass SMS text blasting. In 2025, they did 1.3 million in total revenue, which is very respectable, and they had a profit margin of $286,000, which represents a 22% margin. Their team throughout the year had 3 acquisitions and 1 dispo and the owner. To me, when I first looked at this business, I thought it was generally healthy. I instantly knew where a problem likely existed. This wholesaler's average deal size was $16,000 per transaction. When I look at how aggressively we can scale a company, before we even adjust the marketing, right? We work with tons of consulting clients where we don't run their marketing. So this is not just me saying we have to run Google Ads. So the first thing I do is I take total revenue for the year divided by 12, divided by the average number of salespeople we had on the team. That gives me that for this business, on average, that each salesperson was closing roughly $36,000. So right there, the first question I ask this person is, hey, of your 3 reps, is there someone who is the best and someone who is clearly the worst? The answer is almost always yes. Sure enough, one of their top performers had closed almost half of all of the revenue when one of their performers had only closed 70 grand in the entire year. So the first answer here was super simple. We cut one of those underperformers and we went down to 2 AAs. Now let's look at what we changed in the business and how we got the business to do this. Here is the year-to-date 6 months, June 2026. We switched over to Google Ads, so we are running about 75% of his total marketing budget using Google Ads, and 25% he's using his existing SMS system. In the first 6 months, we have about $730,000 revenue. Revenue is almost exactly the same. This is not me just saying that we instantly grew revenue. He is pacing for almost an identical revenue year that he previously had in 2025. But look at this. He has over $250,000 in profit. This represents a 31% margin. So within 6 months of working with SM3, we have drastically improved his margin, where his revenue is pacing for the same he did last year, but he's gonna make multi-6 figures more in his pocket. How did we do this? The first thing I wanna point out, by adding Google Ads, we rapidly increased his deal size because we're dealing with people who are more motivated. Second, we implemented a PIP, short for Performance Improvement Plan. We set a very key metric that if sales reps are at too high of a lead to contract, they are going to be eligible for termination. This may sound cutthroat, but when you're rapidly growing a direct consumer sales and marketing organization, it's very clear you have a bottom, a threshold for where team members are no longer allowed to stay on the team. When you put someone on a PIP, there's only 2 outcomes that occur. Either they hit their numbers and in turn they get off the PIP, or they get let go. What this does is it protects the profit in the business. What ended up happening is the underperformer in this business got let go and his other 2 top performers started crushing. So he started doing the same amount of revenue with only 2 sales reps instead of 3. He had less payroll, which frees up ad spend, and here's the key. He stopped burning marketing spend on sales reps who weren't performing. Now again, I want this video to be generally pretty short, so there's a few things to learn. 1, your marketing channel will definitely matter. 2, making sure we have very clear defined performance improvement and threshold and KPI tracking. Now, the next 6 months in this business, we are going to actually be able to literally double his revenue by December. By December of this year, he's gonna be averaging about $300,000 a month in total revenue. The reason I wanted to make this is I don't want people to think that they instantly start working with SM3 and their revenue starts skyrocketing. What we need to do first is make sure we're getting above a 30% net profit margin. Once we get here, then we start growing the sales team because we have the right operational efficiencies in place. If you like this video breakdown and you want to see how my real estate wholesale business has scaled to $30,000 closed every 30 hours, click this video here. If you want to see more posts like this, please comment, like, subscribe, do everything you need to do on YouTube right here.